Oh man, it's the chronic. You don't need to worry about
it. Hey, welcome to the Hitmakers Unite podcast. I'm Malachi, and today we got Valencia. What's up, Valencia?
Hey.
What's up? So, how you doing? How you doing? How you living?
I am good, stressed a little bit, but I'm good. I'm excited, and I'm feeling really blessed, actually.
Bad. What got you stressed? Keys.
Okay, so in 2 days, I have my debut concert at the Golden Record here in St. Louis, and it's been a lot going into it, a lot of time, stress, and work, and just a little bit of extra stuff on the side that's like tried to kick us down. But I don't know. I'm excited. Still.
Hey, that's good. That's good. Really excited about that performance.
Thank you.
I'm gonna be there myself to see this. So
I appreciate
really
it.
excited about that. Yeah, so like the people don't really know you. I know you for a bit, but like introduce yourself to everyone. Yeah.
Absolutely. So I go by Valencia Rush, and I'm a singer, songwriter / artist. Favorite way to put it is that I'm a creative. I do music, I creative direct music videos, and just any other creative pieces. I'm a little bit of a tech girl, so shout outs to the fintech world. I'm ADHD, like to have fun, crazy, and yeah, I'm just here to, get the most out of life, pretty much.
Bad. All right, so you're really good at music, man. Like you can sing, you got a creative mind and stuff. Like I really appreciate you.
Thank you.
And the art you put on. But what got you into it in the first place? Like
So it's very cliche starting out. So I would say, at a young age, like 6, singing in church, learning harmonies and stuff like that. And then when I got into my late teens, I started like experimenting with like having a band and things like that. And then shortly after that, like whole like experimenting and like just learning and writing and stuff like that, I started singing background. So I sang background for a lot of artists. So I mean, just to name some, it was more so on the gospel side because I grew up under a religious household. So Shanita Jones, Thizzle, who else? Lisha Anye, which was more on the secular side, which is like the direction I ended up going in. And then also the Bangas for a moment, they were doing like inspirational type music. I sang background for them. And so after that, I would say a few years after that, after like going down that route, I began taking vocal lessons from Ametria Doc. She's the background singer for NDRE. She's trained Janelle Monáe, Jadena, and like Jasmine Sullivan. She's just amazing. And I just feel like during that moment, I started to gain like my confidence, and I was just like, I have all of these creative ideas, but I can't force them on the people I'm singing background for. I was like, I thought that's where I was supposed to be, but I just kept having all these huge ideas, but not necessarily the platform to, showcase them. So during that time where I just got like really influenced in a positive way from my background, from my vocal coach, I decided, I'm supposed to be my own artist. So from there, I just started like trying to figure it out. I was all over the place, but I was like, I know I want to do this, but how do I do this? I didn't know. So I was just all over the place for a moment. But then the first performance as my own artist was huge. It was opening up for Flo Rida and AJR at the Family Arena in 2017. And that was just kind of like, yeah, this is it. Shout outs to AG, Alan Gates, who provided that platform for us. And from there, I mean, after a year after that, I released my first single, Seasons, and I just haven't stopped since then. Just going. Like, I gotta do this.
That's amazing.
Thank you.
That's
Thank
amazing.
you.
That's a crazy like journey that you went on, like, bro, like doing background and all these different like genres of music. It's not even secular versus like the church where it's
right.
You mentioning different kinds of artists. So like,
absolutely.
I'm curious, like, what was the thing you learned most being background or writing for these artists?
Background singing was a lot because I feel like growing up in music, I didn't have any mentors. I didn't have anybody to say, hey, this is wrong, this is right. It was just kind of like being thrown in the lion's den. So it was very challenging for me. And I will say, like, it definitely developed me. It developed me, and it brought me to this point here because it was hard. I'm not gonna lie. Like years ago, I would never expected me to like be in this place that I am now, confident, sure of myself and my path and my journey, it was just kind of like, dang, I wish somebody would just kind of like teach me, like, what am I doing wrong? You know what I'm saying? So
Mm-hmm.
I learned a lot of humbling experiences. Not saying that I should have had them, you know, in the way that I had them, but the industry is
Yeah.
the industry. But it taught me a lot. It grew me up for sure.
That's nice. That's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes me think maybe you have a little grace on your background singing sometimes because you was in that spot, you know. So,
Absolutely, and it's funny you
yeah.
mentioned that because I was telling just my team that something that I want to provide to those who are singing background for me, just kind of like to give back in a way, is a lot of grace. Like literally saying that because I want them to have experiences that I didn't have a lot of the time. So I want you like to know that you are, you know, you're valued. When I have the time to teach, you know, where I can. Now, I mean, we got to get serious and we got to make sure this is together. But at the same time, I want you to be able to feel like this is for you and not feel the opposite where you want to push away and because everybody's not mentally strong enough for that. But because I had to like use those lessons as a way to, you know, either make or break you. You know what I'm saying? So absolutely.
Mm-hmm. That's good. That's good. So when you are making music, like what do you enjoy most about
Ooh,
just making music, coming
that
up
is a
with the
good one.
song?
That is a good one. I think like it's multiple things. Like you you get to kind of go to a place that's like within your imagination almost, you know what I'm saying? Like when you know when you're kids, you make up these stories, you outside, you playing
Mm-hmm.
on the blacktop or wherever, and you just kind of like in your zone and just like free. So being creatively free has been a release for me. It's a way for me to cope. You know what I'm saying? So like being able to write stories. I've always been really into like storytelling. So being able to like revisit some like stories that from either myself and it's like a growth moment or something that I've witnessed, I think it's just a beautiful thing. And then to just be able to creatively release. And then also when it's something that you're good at, it feels good. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh
Mm-hmm.
my God,
Mm-hmm.
I'm good at this. So like that's something that feels good as well. But it just I don't know, it's just a natural like high, honestly. It's
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
amazing.
No, that's good. And like, if we was to back up a bit, because this is about making music, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like what I just asked you, but about being an artist in general, right? Like, artistry can come in many forms.
Yeah.
Like, one of your primary forms, I think, is making music, right? But
Yeah.
like, what do you enjoy most about being an artist? And yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. I feel like, oh my God, questions are so good. I feel like I'm my most authentic self. I just feel like I have a platform to like be super unique, weird. Cause like, I mean, my background, you know, I come from something that's totally different, being homeschooled and like being under, like I said, a religious household, like being able to be weird and like, you know what I'm saying? And it's okay to be
And
in
that
that
be okay?
space
Yeah.
and that's fine. So being able to express myself, being able to do it on my own terms and then also being able to connect, network and help others. I think that's just also super important. Like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, am I able to touch others? Like I remember when I released Warning Signs, it was about my personal story and someone was like, she literally reached out to me and said, I'm so glad you released this and told your story. I went through something very similar. I was
Mm-hmm.
like, this is why we do this. This
Mm-hmm.
is important.
Mm-hmm.
So that felt amazing. Yeah.
And that's nice. That's nice. Yeah, and being
Thank
able
you.
to connect with people, I think, with your
Mm-hmm.
music, that's touching. Like I've never made music to touch anybody, but I can just imagine like your own story connecting with somebody, they
Yeah.
interpreting it, it's being real for them. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's really nice. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. So, like, talk us through like what happens like when you in the studio, when you're like, how do you even start making a song? Like, or do you songwrite first? Do you find a track that you can songwrite to? Like, are you just drawn on story? Yeah, talk us through that.
I love this question. So it's different ways that happen. It happens in different ways for me. So I may so typically the song is written. Generally, the song is written beforehand. Like if I'm in the studio and vibing out, that could happen. You know, adding to a song or something like that. But the bulk of the song I already have pretty much planned out. It's funny because when I started recording, I have always been more comfortable live than in the studio. So when I started off recording in the studio, I used to be so nervous. Like I'm not comfortable. Oh my gosh. And then now it's like I'm comfortable, but I'm a perfectionist. So I'm like, it takes me a long time to record stuff. So it's like
Yeah,
that
yeah.
needs to change. That needs to be added. So what I'll usually do is I'll have the song mostly written, and then I'll go into the studio and I'll go ahead and like sing what I have, and then 90% of the time or more, probably 100% of the time, I'm going to add and freestyle a lot of stuff while I'm in the studio, like maybe add some like harmonies and things like that. So it's a whole like, it's never like a one way, street as far as like the recording process for me. But as far as like the bulk of it, yeah, time is money. Studio time costs, so I'm gonna have like at least most
Mm-hmm.
of it, planned out ahead. So
Mm-hmm.
what I've done now is just like I make sure I record it before, like I do like a demo, and then I add like the bulk of a lot of like harmonies and stuff. And while I'll probably add some more, I just at least know, my goal when I get in the studio.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's good. I mean, that's a really good point for all the artists out there. Like, bro, studio time costs, and you gotta maximize that
Mm-hmm.
to as much as you can. So,
Absolutely.
being ready, being prepared, like that's step one. Yeah. So when you look at yourself as an artist, like becoming a music artist is really tough, right? Like, so
Mm-hmm.
you got the music part, you got building fan engagement, you got branding yourself, like you got a social media and presence. Like
Yup.
there's all these different things that you got to be aware of. It's not only about the music if you really trying to make it right.
If you
And so
really
like
trying to
tell
make
me,
it.
if you really trying to make it right. So like tell me, what is your biggest strength and then your
Mm.
biggest weakness when you look at all of these things around you that you have to be responsible for?
I love that. My biggest strength, I would definitely say, is branding. I think
Mm-hmm,
that's one of my
mm-hmm,
biggest strengths. Just being, and it's like some tears that's around that because, like, there's the songwriting and like the stage presence. I do think that's like a huge thing for me as well. But the branding, I think that's what really draws a lot of people's attention. It's like, oh my God, the way you roll out music, the way you do this,
mm-hmm,
the always seeing your brand everywhere. Like it's like that is just like a huge thing. I think for me, what's been a huge struggle, which I do see the light at the end of the tunnel, is just being like, a lot of people who are like grandfathered in or have like, they grew up around like a huge like musical family or friends and things like that. I think that has been something that I've had to like work double time for. So like I said, I've been like being homeschooled, like not growing up in high school where it's like, oh my God, I went to school with Metro Boomin. No, I didn't. I went to school with my siblings. Like shout outs to those guys. But it's just like, and they're very talented, but it's just like,
mm-hmm,
having those connections has been like hard. But I will say because of the branding and because of the hard work put into that, it's opened those doors and I see that now.
mm-hmm,
So it's just kind of like, yeah, it's tough, but like you said, if you have all of those elements down and you're like pushing all of them, it's gonna work out. So
mm-hmm.
absolutely.
Nice, nice, nice. That's good. That's good. I was gonna ask you another question about your influences or like
Okay.
artists that inspire you. Like this is not to say that you see yourself in this artist. Everybody want to stand on their own, right?
I know.
But like, what are some of your influences? I know church as a theme was. It seems like it was an influence early on. But like, if you look at artists today, who influences you?
Yeah, I would say there's a bunch, but I would definitely say like Janelle Monáe, Solange, huge influences. I would also say Beyonce, of course, obs. SZA is a huge
Mm-hmm.
influence for me. I love her. And then there's others like I love, listen, Kanye influences me absolutely. Eric Bellinger, he's just one of the best. He has one of the best pens to me in the game. And
Mm-hmm.
then like there's like Shaka Khan, absolutely. And then there's so many. I could go on and on, but that's I'm gonna stop there. That's just to
Yeah,
name a good amount. But those people, oh Kendrick Lamar, I have to say Kendrick Lamar. He also
yeah.
influenced me. But
So
yeah.
what if you was to pull out one common theme between all of these artists, or just to sum it up, like what is it about them you feel connected to?
So I feel like they are very much so, especially with like Solange and like Janelle Monáe, because they're like more alternative and they like do their own thing. And like Solange is like, I'm gonna be myself I think like them being like so out the box and so not afraid to like for instance, Eric Bellinger has put out off, over a dozen albums. I think it was like it may be like two
Yeah.
dozen. You know what I'm saying? So he's just not afraid
Right.
to keep going. And then I love writing, so that like connects me with them, and they're all like writers. So I think like it's the multitude of things that like connect these artists, but they're like uber creative. So I'm just like, yeah, I'm always tuned into them. And SZA's just like one of my favorite writers, and just I don't know, I just absolutely adore her. So yeah.
Nice, 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 nice. All right, so let's go back to like your show. And you got a show coming up. This is not your
Yes.
first show. You know what I mean? And we got a lot of people that listen. They've never done a show. Like they've never like, you know what I'm saying? It may be
Shout
their
outs to
first
them.
time this year or next year, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
like, just give them some tips. Like, what should they be aware of
Whew.
when going off for their first show?
Absolutely. So I think that like whether you're opening or headlining, it doesn't matter. Just make sure that you're mentally prepared. I think that's something that's super important. I think it's also important to establish like a good team. I don't care if it's 3 of you guys, 4 of you guys. Just make sure you trust those people and that they are willing to put in that work. Because I think that it's very easy to get burnt out, and you don't want to do that because you want to be your best self. Have if you're able to, I don't care if it's just one person, have someone that you can confide in if you need a breakdown. I've had some breakdowns and if you need that person to vent to, that is important. Have a vision. Have a vision for what you want. What do you want people to get out of this experience within X amount of time, however long you're going to be on stage? Do you want to showcase this talent? You know what I'm saying? Do you want them to know this is my thing that I do, so that you can get that footage and that you can like share with others, that so that your talents can continue to blossom and go to this person that AR, whoever AR, whoever you are trying to like market it to. So I think that's important. And then also don't dim your light. Do not dim your light. If you're being called extra, then you are in the right position in the right place. Keep being called extra. Keep being yourself, because people are longing for originality. I don't care if it's labels. I don't care if you're being an indie. You're continuing to be an indie artist. They want you to be original. That catches people's eyes. So like, and then just also be consistent. You gotta work. You have to put in work. You're still working your 9 to 5. You gotta work after that 9 to 5. You know what I'm saying? So like, it's not easy, but it's not impossible at all. So, and good
Nice.
luck and congratulations if you are at the point where you are ready to start getting out there on stage, because it's not easy. So shout outs to y'all.
Cool, 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 cool. And one thing I know about you is you put in a lot of time, like you mentioned. Like you work, then you go and practice, and so
Yes.
like just hit on like how much rehearsal practice, like orchestration with your own music. That how important is that? Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it's very important. So I will like, if I need to make sure that I'm comfortable, like you know what I'm saying. Once, because when I know something, then I can easily, you know, provide that entertainment to the audience. You know what I'm saying? Because the rest of it comes naturally when you're up there and you're engaging with the audience and stuff like that. But I have to make sure that I have this on point. So it's been a minute since I've danced and performed on stage. So I put in hours and hours and hours of learning and practicing and stuff, because I do not want to look like a fool. So like even when I'm working like my tech job, like I'm practicing on my lunch. After work, I'm practicing. I'm listening to the music, memorizing the cues, so that even if something happens to my in ears, I can know this is going to happen. Boom, boom, boom. So a lot of hours, and then of course you have to still work on the back end. So it's nonstop grind. So even when you feel like, okay, I have this down, still go over it. I don't care if it's at least one time a day. I'm in my usher mode. You know what I'm saying? I'm in my usher mode where he just like he makes sure stuff is just like together. So like for example, I actually caught strep throat on Monday. It's
Oh wow.
been crazy, but thankfully I had been taking care of myself and I hadn't gotten to a point where it was like affecting my voice. But I of course got the antibiotics in time, thankfully, and so I'm feeling a lot better. But it's just kind of like, because I put in that time, you know what I'm saying? I'm at peace. I'm okay. I'm calm, and I got this. You know what I'm saying? So it's just really important to be dedicated to your craft. Absolutely.
Nice, nice, nice. Man, This is a lot of good stuff, man. I hope y'all picking this up. This is crazy. I really appreciate you getting on here and like really
Thank
just sharing your
you.
story, sharing like all these different things. Like it's really good to hear from artists behind the music, and so I appreciate you being on here.
I
But
appreciate
let the
being
people know
here.
like how they. Oh, appreciate. Thank you. Let the people know how they can reach out to you. You know, socials and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, so everywhere is at Damn Valencia. So I forgot to say that at the beginning. It's Valencia Rush, aka Damn Valencia. So Damn as in the curse word, and then Valencia as in Spain or the orange. I don't know, whichever one makes you remember. But yeah, that's everywhere. That's Instagram, that's TikTok, that's Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, wherever. Well, YouTube is Valencia Rush. Sorry about that. But yeah, you'll find me.
Bet. And are you recording your show? Like, can they tap into that afterwards?
So it's not live. It's a little exclusive. However, just to give y'all a little, a little exclusive, like 411, we are planning on having something released afterwards. It may not be the full thing, but you'll get some really
You just got an
highlighted
exclusive
moments.
drop.
Yeah,
Nice.
only for you, Malachi. Only for you.
Nice. Appreciate that. That's love. All right. Thank you for listening. Thank you, Valencia, for being on. Like, really appreciate you. Now, if you're an artist, producer, a fan, engineer, anything related to music, please tune into this podcast and join our Discord server. We got a server made just for y'all to share music, get tips, help each other, learn and grow. So that's in the episode details. Check that out. Peace.